researchers, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to discuss about all the types of hypothesis with the help of the example. So these are the various types of hypothesis that are being used in the research, and we are going to discuss this one by one. So let's get started. Firstly, let's just understand the meaning of the word hypothesis. In casual term or in a layman language, hypotheses are the assumptions that we make so as to test in our research. Right? Firstly, we make the assumptions by studying the theory, and then we test these assumptions through our empirical study. Right? I can say that it is the initial point for any of the research that translates the research questions into the predictions. Whenever you start your research, what do? You make the research questions, right? After forming the research questions, what do? You make the objectives of the study, and then from the objective, you make the hypothesis. You can say that hypothesis includes your variable population, and it also explores the relationship between various variables, right? So the first type of hypothesis is simple hypothesis. In this, what happens is we take only two variables. One is independent and another one is dependent variable. We test a relationship between independent and dependent variable, right? Example could be applying sunscreen every day slows down the skin aging. So over here we take only one independent variable and one dependent variable. So this is the simple hypothesis. Going further, complex hypothesis, it's the opposite of the simple. Okay, in this we take two or more independent or dependent variables in one hypothesis only. Taking the example, applying sunscreen every day slows down the skin aging. It also reduces the sunburn and reduces the chances of skin cancer. Over here, we've taken only one independent variable and three dependent variables, right? So this is the complex hypothesis. So the next type of hypothesis is the null hypothesis. This type of hypothesis is very common in our social sciences, right? We try to see that whether there is any change. We usually write it that there is no change in dependent variable with respect to any change in the independent variable, right? If I am going to change my independent variable, whether I am going to increase or decrease my independent variable, there will be no change in my dependent variable. So this is your null hypothesis, and null hypothesis is always denoted by H not. Okay, let's see the example. The newly identified virus is not zoonotic. Not or not significant. These terms are very common while framing our null hypothesis. Another example could be, say, there is no significant impact of independent variable on our dependent variable. So terms like no, not, these are denoted in our null hypothesis. Next is the alternate hypothesis. This is just the opposite of our null hypothesis. Now over here, the only difference is these are the positive statements. Right? In null hypothesis, we use terms as no, not, that are negative. However, in the alternate, we use the positive statements such as there is a significant difference or relationship between variables, right? If I'm going to increase or decrease my independent variable, there is going to be the same significant relation in my dependent variable. So these are denoted by, say, H1, H2. This is the way how you denote your alternate hypothesis. Taking the same example, the newly identified virus is zoonotic, right? In null hypothesis, we said the newly identified virus is not zoonotic, and in our alternate hypothesis, we are saying it is, right? This is the positive statement. Going further, we have is the directional hypothesis. Over here, what happens is that we give directions of our relationship between our independent and dependent variables. Usually, the terms that are being used is that increase, decrease, positive, negative, more or less, while framing our hypothesis. Now, example over here could be children aged 4 years eating proper food over 5-year period are having higher IQ level than children who are not taking the proper meals, right? So over here we are giving the direction, whether it is increasing, decreasing, is it positive or negative, right? So this is our directional hypothesis. Going further, the opposite of directional is the non-directional hypothesis. Over here, these are used when there is no theory that is available to us, okay, where there is no theory is involved, right? And we try to explore the relationship between dependent and independent variable, but no direction, nature or magnitude of the relation is specified, right? So we can say that cats and dogs differ in the amount of affection they express. Over here, we do not have any direction, right? We cannot say that which one is more, which one is lesser. So these types of hypotheses are made when there is no underlying theory or when the findings contradict previous types of researches, right? Next type of hypothesis is associative hypothesis. We try to explore the relationship between our independent and dependent variable. So when do we explore the relationship? We use the statistical tool like correlation, right? Whether by increasing or decreasing my independent variable, whether the same kind of increase or decrease is observed in our dependent variable or not. Example could be, there is a positive association between physical activity levels and overall health, right? So this is when we test our hypothesis, that means independent and dependent variable, the relationship is being explored. Next type of hypothesis is the causal hypothesis. This is the cause and effect interaction between independent and dependent variable. Okay, so how do we explore the cause and effect? Through regression, right? This means if I am going to increase my dependent variable, whether I am able to observe any changes in my dependent variable or not. Regression, what is the cause of the independent variable on my dependent variable? Example, long-term alcohol use causes liver damage, right? We try to explore the causes. Next type of hypothesis is the empirical hypothesis. These are also known as the working hypothesis, and these are used in testing our research experimentally or through empirically, right? This is not based on the wild guesses, and it tries to justify your hypothesis testing. Example could be, good behavior in children can be reinforced when they are rewarded, right? You try to test your theory through your empirical hypothesis. Now, the last type of hypothesis we have is the statistical hypothesis. In this, what do? We try to test the existing hypothesis on the certain population size. Example, say 44% of the Indian population belong to the age group of 22 to 27. What do? We are testing already existing theory or say hypothesis through the population sample. I hope this is clear to you guys. If not, then you can comment in the comment section and I will surely reply to you. So that is it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something. If yes, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you and have a nice day.